Hi, I'm Neil McFadden, and this is just a presentation on producing multimedia projects in the middle years. My background, a little bit about me: studied film production. I did a B.Ed in middle years education. I did something called a post-bac diploma in education with a variety of general courses. As well, I'm working on completing my master's in education with a focus on educational technology and design. So a little bit about multimedia production. Some view multimedia production as a means to teach sort of like software skill or content creation. In my opinion, I view multimedia production as the process of creating and producing a larger project that is a project that uses a variety of skills. It can include planning, visualization, problem solving, critical thinking, distributed learning. There's just a huge variety of things that go into this. And this could be done in something like a film, a podcast, a website, a game. There are many different options. Some research on to give you a sense where I'm coming from. There's the idea that in middle years, students are going through a transition and they need some help with addressing social skills, getting some information about careers, knowing a little bit about cultural awareness. With multimedia production, there's also a recommendation by Peterson and Ord that when you implement a project like this, students should have the flexibility and the opportunity to explore these skills to see what they can come up with. And as teachers, you need to kind of give them formative assessment as they're going to help them go through it and move through it. The lessons should be interactive. It shouldn't just be all top down, and they shouldn't just be told, do this, do that, this is your project. They need to have some say in the matter. Flexible scheduling is also as important. One model that I like Lou's idea of a cognitive apprenticeship through multimedia production in middle school, or it could really apply to anything. His model or his research focused on cognitive skills going through 4 stages for the project, which would include planning, design, production, revision. Lou reported that this model had encouraging results for enhancing cognitive skills. A little bit about my context, so where I'm coming from, because my approach might not work for everybody. It might work for me based on where I am, but it might not work for everybody else depending where they're at. I see classes for about 120 to 160 minutes every 6-day school cycle, and I get 3 different sections each year, so we have a 3-month term that these students come for. The age range, it can be students anywhere from age 10 to 14, and they come with a bunch of different abilities. There's some students who are at the beginning of grade 6 who are very experienced with making multimedia content, and they already have a lot of hands-on skills. And there could be other students who are in grade 8 who have really never explored making a video or used a camera or anything like that. I teach about 4 schools each year. They are different groups of students. Some are middle schools that are grade 6 to 8. Some are kindergarten to grade 8 schools, and so there's a little bit of a different setup there. I typically build up a set of skills in my students before I get into a big project. This could include learning to use a DSLR camera, or how to do a little bit of editing with iMovie, how to import videos. It could include how to set up a shotgun microphone and an audio interface. I have a variety of equipment that's available to me in my program, including DSLRs, camcorders, microphones, audio interfaces. I have some flexible green screens and some different options that I can access if I need to. I typically use Apple computers. I like iMovie and GarageBand because they're very intuitive and easy to use for students. They're simple but complex at the same time. They can do basically anything that they need to do. I also have access to Adobe Creative Suite, which includes Premiere Pro, Adobe Audition, Photoshop. Some of that I'll look at with most of my students, but I hold off a little bit until I have a group that's maybe a little more advanced. For larger projects, with my grade 6 students, I look at doing a silent short film. Grade 7, I'm going to do a podcast, possibly a stop motion film. Grade 8, I'm looking at doing a narrative documentary film that's sort of on a subject of their choosing. Some other possibilities, I've seen people do video slideshows. I've seen people make games, and that could be whether it's computer games or it could be board games where they do multimedia design. Websites, I like to do occasionally a sound story project where it's somewhat like an audio play, and I've also seen people do these sort of large media campaigns that involve poster creation that all are thematic and possibly fit a message. My process is I always start with generating ideas. That includes brainstorming, having discussions. You might do a think, pair, share, watching previous projects that other groups have done. It's an opportunity to talk about what the project might look like and get some ideas. I then do a focus on design where I have students write scripts, storyboards, maybe rehearse a little bit and create a shot list. Depending on the group, I scaffold and support as needed. There are groups that we literally all sit down together and write a group script, and then students will come up with an ending. That might be something I do in grade 6, but then there's other times I have grade 8s that basically handle everything themselves just after we've done the brainstorming. Production, I like to let the students work and explore, whether that's recording audio, video. I like to give them the chance to make mistakes. As they're doing this, I go around the class and I offer feedback as needed and support. If I notice they've got a tripod that's not level, well, that's an opportunity to give them some feedback and instruction as needed, even though I've done that before. Post-production, there's a focus on editing work. I also like my students to talk to each other, review each other's work, give them feedback. And if needed, we can revisit the production stage. So this might mean if a group got all their stuff back and they were out of focus with their footage, they can go back and do some reshoots. At this time, when I'm showing them how to edit, I like to do lots of little mini lessons where I bring the class together around a computer. I show them how to do a few things, and then I give them time to work. It's not me doing a demo for 30, 40 minutes. It might be 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And I think it works. And then finally, I like to do a screening, and it could be just in class. It could be the project gets put online. I've put some podcasts online, or you can do an event. Sometimes it could be a school film festival. And I also think an idea here, and it doesn't work for every group, is to look at doing this type of project with situated roles where somebody would be a director or an actor or a writer, an editor. Doesn't always work, but it's a possibility you may want to consider. Here are my references for this work. Feel free to check out these sources on Google Scholar, and I hope you found this a useful presentation.